You may notice that every so often a new movie comes out that some people declare as woke, which has become certain people's word they have appropriated say they don't like when something has political themes. Or it's used by people just as a negative derogatory term, completely divorcing the word from its intended meaning. And the latest movie I've noticed some people are complaining is woke is Kung Fu Panda 4 of all things. And my first thought was, wait, more woke than the second movie where Po faced a genocidal, war-obsessed prince who tried to exterminate an entire species? Digging into this further, apparently people are angry about the new character Zen being a skilled fighter and for the way she treats Po throughout the movie. The latter ignores that we're not supposed to agree with her choices during the course of the story. She's depicted as a thief who frequently lies, in contrast to Po's more honorable and honest personality. We even see how her past actions negatively affected her relationship with others. But I've noticed the anti-woke mob seems to have trouble reading female characters and understanding their arcs. A good example of this was Helena Shaw in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I read complaints about her being unlikable for the way she belittles Indy throughout the adventure, along with other actions, but the movie frequently shows she's in the wrong for many of the things she does, and we're meant to take Indy's side through most of their interactions. The whole point of Helena is she has become consumed by making easy money off selling artifacts to the highest bidder, and willing to work with bad people to achieve those goals. She basically shows what could have happened to Indy if he had gone down the path of being obsessed with fortune and glory, rather than returning treasures and objects to the rightful owners and making sure they don't go into the wrong hands. James Mangold himself even referred to Helena as a grifter, and a major inspiration was Barbara Stanwyck's con artist character, Jean Harrington, from the classic comedy The Lady Eve. It's only at the end of the film that she realizes what really matters and tries to help Indy rather than belittling him. It's called a character arc. Anti-woke people even complained about women who are already heroic at the start of the story. They complained about Princess Peach being competent at navigating the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario struggling with the obstacle course at the start of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. However, she has lived there since she was a baby and is completely familiar with the obstacles there. Of course she's great at it. Mario only just got there, and he also represents how we all feel when we first start playing a video game and are trying to figure out the levels and the best strategy to navigate them. Plus, before he arrives in the kingdom, Mario is depicted as having excellent skills at navigating the streets of New York and at plumbing, because he already knew how to handle those things before the events of the film. Once we get to the climax of the movie, Mario is shown to now understand how many of the oddities and enemies in the Mushroom Kingdom work, and is really good at defeating the Koopas, Piranha Plants, etc. as a result. Then you have cases where the central heroic protagonist exhibits obvious intentional flaws they need to overcome, and these are used as examples of them being a bad and unlikable character. Some of the reactions to the She-Hulk show fall into this. I saw complaints about Jennifer Walters talking back to Bruce Banner in the first episode and saying, why is she saying those things to him? He's just trying to help her. And then the penultimate episode shows that she indeed should have been listening to Bruce and taking some of his advice on how to be a Hulk seriously. Part of Jennifer's arc in the show is thinking she has the whole Hulk thing down, but then comes to learn that she has a lot to learn about navigating the difficulties of turning into a big green person who has several enemies wanting to destroy her. It's funny that certain people will complain about female characters being perfect and having no flaws, but even when the flaws are clearly shown and an important part of their character arcs, they seem to misinterpret and have a problem with that too. You cannot win with some people. Are there female characters who are not well written and whose flaws or lack of them are a detriment? Absolutely. To use another example from the Indiana Jones franchise, I agree with the consensus that Willie Scott from Temple of Doom is incredibly annoying. I understand the intent was likely to emulate those sorts of characters from 1930s films, but she mostly just screams and whines. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas's recent breakups also supposedly had an influence in how Willie was portrayed. Those are flaws that actively take away from the character and wanting to make us spend time with her. I see what maybe they were trying to do, but the execution was off. But in the other examples I mentioned, it seems to be a case of just being angry the character even exists in the first place.